All right. Hello and welcome to episode 4 of the Mustang Robotics Symposium series. I'm your director, Jacob Ursua, and behind the scenes we also have producers Jai Liang and Sophia Pantoja. Our program greatly appreciates each and every one of you for coming to the show tonight. In fact, we would like to graciously invite you to type in chat and let us know who you are. Please tell us your name, school, organization, or anything, and we would gladly shout you out in subsequent episodes. If you have any questions for the guests throughout the stream, feel free to put those in the chat as well. But anyways, please welcome the host of the Mustang Robotics Symposium series, Mr. Chad Pearson.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Mustang Robotics Symposium series that we're holding during the VEX 2021 COVID-affected robotics year. We're a program located in San Diego area of California. We're in Chula Vista. We're Otay Ranch High School Mustang Robotics. We're a program that's been in existence for over 10 years. And we're proud to say that due to that, we have a lot of ability to dip into a pool of past students, our alumni, and invite them back for these episodes to be able to describe to us how robotics has affected their life in a positive way, how they got to where they're at, and explain a little bit of their journey and their pathway to their careers. Today, we're very, very happy to have Kenneth Gervacio returning to us. He is a individual who's well into his adult years, sorry to say, my friend, and a gray hair will come at some point. But he is a San Diego State graduate in engineering, and we will welcome him to this episode today. How are you, Kenneth?
Thank you. Good. I'm doing awesome. A little bit nervous, but we're good.
Oh yeah. It's okay, my friend. We here probably make everyone a little nervous in this grand episode of things here. But I think a lot of this is thank you for taking the time. I know you're in the LA area, Culver City, up by where you work, and to take a few minutes in return. First, the Mustang Robotics Students Alumni Club would all like to thank you for participating. We do have an audience out there. We're live broadcasting this on Twitch. And so throughout this episode, if you guys have a question for Kenneth, if you are an alumni and you're here and you want to just say hi, please go ahead, type something in. And some of the students that are working behind the scenes will be collecting questions and feeding them to us throughout the episode. But Kenneth, I think we start during each of these episodes at a very common point. And I probably want to ask you, when's your first year when you do robotics at Otay Ranch with us?
I started 2013 and did it for 2 years before I graduated.
You got 2 years. So you did your junior and senior year with us.
Yes, correct.
Very cool, my friend. And what position, what was your desire on the team? Where did you find yourself more doing the tasks?
I applied as what we call an engineer. Yeah. But my big goal was just to build a robot and have something that moves. So which kind of leads into like where I ended up becoming in my career, which is construction. You know, building is a whole part of what I like to do and I like to see final products. So
you really truly make a connection between building things in that robotics program and,
exactly.
and 100% connection to where you're at right now.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Where do you compare yourself at that moment? It's fun for me to ask because in the journey of life, when you in retrospect and you look back at yourself, 6 years in the past.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Your junior year, where are you in maturity of life and understanding of what comes next? Do you know you want to be an engineer when you join robotics, or does robotics actually make it kind of firm up and finalize it, solidifies the direction you're going?
I think I knew I wanted to be in engineering, but being in robotics, like you said, like helped me firm it up, like being a part of a team, having a goal, like even just like trying to self-manage each other throughout the whole process. That helped me grow later on when I realized it. Like I had the experience before, and back then I just thought it was a sport thing, competition. You're with friends. We were out there kick some butt with some robots. So in the end, like it helped build that foundation for teamwork, for thinking process, and a lot of stuff that happened later on in the future.
And so, if I'm correct, junior or senior year, you're on a team that has a lot of incredible individuals. Now, knowing you all where you're in your directions of life.
Yeah.
What a powerful group of kids. And I had no idea. We have grads at all these different schools. We have people doing everything you can imagine, but we have you all on one team.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I believe you guys qualify for state championships. We're
Yep.
one of the teams that drive up north. We do California state championships up north, and you make it to Worlds.
Yeah.
Do you have anything you want to tell me about your Worlds? Look at that smile. What do you want to tell us about your Worlds? What do you remember about Worlds? Where was it located for you?
Worlds for us was at Anaheim, which is super cool because it's just across the street from Disneyland. And that was, I think that's the first organized sport where I traveled with the team, and got to stay with people for 2 to 3 days, maybe even longer, and basically just spend that whole time competing and meeting other people. And you have this big conference hall, and all you see is like robots and fields and all that, and it's a little overwhelming, but surreal at the same time, where all these people have the same goal in mind, score some points and some trust and get the most that you can. So it was super cool, and I'll never forget that.
There's a lot of commonality in that group. There's a lot of like brother and sisterhood. As an adult, watching all of those students and just kind of feeling that direction, everyone, a lot of positivity, no animosity. I mean, people want to win, but it's a wonderful experience. You'll be proud to know that we've continued to go to Kentucky, and we plan on getting to Dallas as we open up the next couple of years. And so traveling has definitely become part of Mustang Robotics. And so you get towards the end of high school, senior year, we do all of our robotic stuff. How is your thought pattern of approaching what comes after high school? What are you thinking about as a senior? Where are you applying? Reasons maybe you apply for those schools?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what you want to study? Are you, my friend?
So easy enough, like Otay Ranch and the Sweetwater Union High School District had the direct linked compact for success to SDSU. So that was one of the schools that I applied to. The other one being Oregon State, which is, kind of a long shot, but I always kind of knew I wanted to go to San Diego State. My sister was already there. I had cousins and friends going there. So it felt like the right place to go. And that's like what kind you want to look for when you're going to a school, like somewhere where you're comfortable. You're going to learn anywhere, but, it kind of just depends on what your style is. San Diego State was more like a experience-based, kind of school and that's what I ended up getting from San Diego State, which is the experience. But it was an easy choice for me to pick SDSU, and that just launched everything.
Well, that's the one thing I can tell you. I may be the advisor for Mustang Robotics, but I'm a proud San Diego State alumni.
Oh yeah,
so me and you, we're on a whole different level now, my friend.
Oh yeah.
And so you get this choice. You go on to San Diego State. You go declared, undeclared. You're in the engineering right away.
Yeah. So lucky enough, like the construction program was kind of new. It's construction engineering. 3 parts to it was civil construction, environmental, CCEE. Everyone did civil, everyone did environmental, and then we just had a small group of about like 40 students for construction. So it's kind of easy not to be impacted. And it kind of helps with the stress of not having to have high grades or like missing the cutoff of not making it into the not the pre-major but into the actual major after your second year. So that made it easier to choose. And the class that I took in high school was it Engineering 101? I think that was the class that we had. The first thing that they told us was
guys
like
back then made the frame of the house and everything. You guys
exactly. Yeah.
I got you.
Made the bridges and all that. Yeah. So the first thing that we were taught was if you're unsure about engineering, do it your first year, and from that moment if it's a choice or not. Yeah. Exactly. So that first year undergrad, but I mean it's easy classes, but it still made the decision that this is where I want to be.
So one of the questions that's come up in past episodes is right at this point of life, you're starting your college and stuff. What's the one course, most likely a math course, but what academic course do you realize now was really important during those first couple of years of college for your career field?
For me specifically, being kind of a bad speaker when I was, I guess younger, the most important class that I felt like was Communications 103, which I was at rock bottom for that class. Like there's one speech the class is basically speeches. I had one speech where I couldn't continue it. I walked out and I was like, oh no, I don't feel right. And then, after that point, you get comfortable, you grow confidence, and you just, speaking is what it is. Like you're going to get through it no matter what. And that later on helped me in the future, because in the future I was speaking in orientations. Same thing. I hit rock bottom. It was super bad. And then, you just go from there. So I think communication was a really important class.
So we send you another thank you for doing something today that maybe isn't the most comfortable thing, having interviews,
exactly.
public speaking.
Yeah.
Thank God it just feels like it's me and you, and we don't know there's a Twitch world out there, right?
that helped a lot.
And so this dynamic, interesting, as you're explaining that, all I'm thinking about is young Kenneth and how I wish I could go back and force you into like talking more during judging, during the VEX portion, and a judge is asking you questions and pushing you on the shoulders like, no, you got to answer, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, so the public speaking and the interactions, because I think if I'm understanding, one of your major tasks currently is more of a safety role, and a safety position a little bit in your company, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So having that public interaction and ability to explain yourself is you can't do your job unless you're able to interact.
Exactly. Yeah. Because like when you're walking in a job site, it's easy to look at something that's dangerous or that doesn't look right and just, kind of walk away from it. You need to have the guts to like walk up to someone and be like, hey, this is really unsafe. You got to think about yourself, think about, your family outside of work. That's like the key thing to get people working in construction to actually, think in their minds and do what's right, is to, think about your life, after the project, basically, when you get home from the job. So
don't rush, take your time, make sure there's no one around you when you're doing things and cutting, look around, all of those things. Wow, it sure sounds like that safety conversation I had with a bunch of kids about using the cutoff to cut the metal and stuff. And so a lot of these things really sound like robotics in high school are transitioning directly to, it's good practice. Mm-hmm. And you're walking into San Diego State, you get accepted into a program that's newer. It sounds like it's maybe in its initial year or a couple years, and you're in this, and you, I believe you go to San Diego State and you got a couple AP classes. So do you end up graduating, and how long does it take for you to get you understand the question?
Yeah.
Because San Diego State is famous for an 8-year plan. Let's be honest here, right? And so for you, how long did you spend at San Diego State?
I like to say that I spent 4 years and included a victory lap. Because that last year I took 3 classes total in 2 semesters, but there was some, I'll be blunt, I failed some classes. I failed 1 class or 2 classes during my undergrad, so it kind of pushed me back a little bit. It stumbled the block. So
yeah. Kenneth, if you want to feel better, you can look at past episodes, and every single kid so far has basically said the same thing, more or less. Now, Annika will clarify. I don't think I failed, but I had a horrible time. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of stress reported during freshman year or that first year of undergrad, transition, new routines, lack of friends being directly around you, having to search them out when you want that interaction and stuff. Plus a little bit more freedom of not having like someone like me around telling you exactly what you got to do. So maybe we all falter a little bit, including myself, the first year you're out of the house or you're away from school. But I do think part of the honesty and what's interesting in San Diego State is not as an excuse, but it's a very difficult place with so many students to get all the classes that you're requesting. Yeah. And so even if you don't, it sounds like you're taking 3 classes that last year, but you only failed 2. So you're still adding in a victory, maybe not a full lap, but at least something to where you danced around out there.
Exactly. Yeah.
For myself, it was Spanish. And I mean, that's an inside joke to every Mustang out there. No matter how much college Spanish I have, please do not ask me to speak it. And my victory lap was, please let me get out of here. So we actually get to the end of San Diego State. You graduate. I'm pretty sure, no offense, you have one of those giant dollar wreaths around your neck and stuff. You got your cash flow going for the next week. So you got your McDonald's money and stuff. And at that point, wow, I remember at San Diego State, they hand me my degree, and I go, oh crap, there's next now. Like it can no longer say, I'll figure out what I'm doing after, it
Now's
is
the time.
graduation.
Yeah.
What do I do tomorrow? So how did you find direction and taking that next step into your career?
I felt like the last 2 years of college, the fourth and fifth year, was very important in not having that worry of, what am I going to do after this? Because I first started with cultural organizations when I first started in state. That's where I got my friends. Towards the third year, I knew I had to, make the switch, start focusing on my career. So that's when I joined this construction club, where we do a competition, much like robotics. We do this basically presentation. We get a problem and we try to solve it, and then we present in front of judges. And because I joined in that group, I was able to get an internship because our team captain was, luckily enough, already working in the industry. And one day he was like, "Hey, who needs an internship?" And I was like, "Me, please get me."
Both hands go up real quick.
So that, and even then that connection just made it easier. So a big thing is knowing who you're talking to and making the right connections, and it honestly gets you a long way. And it really bridged the gap from fourth year all the way to now.
Gotcha, kid. So we had someone else tell us that they got an internship, or they've got employment through people they've known and ex-classmates or people a year or two older than them. And so if I can go back just a second, you end up like sophomore year joining something that's more cultural related club, like I'm imagining a Filipino-based, Tagalog-based, dancing with the bamboo sticks, all of that fun stuff, right? And that allows you to get through that whole pressure of that first year. Do you think that social part actually really helps you adjust?
Yeah. So actually, first year I joined 3 cultural organizations. One was a Filipino one. One was Asian Pacific Islanders, so like a whole envelope. Yeah. And then the third one was actually the Vietnamese Student Association, and that's actually the one that I was involved more with, where I became president for VSA, for Vietnamese Student Association, for 1 year. So that was crazy. But yeah,
okay, Kenneth, wait a second. Am I missing something about you? I met your mom and your dad. They're not Vietnamese.
I am full Filipino, but
that's what I thought.
Yeah.
But they accepted you and made you their leader.
Yep.
Okay, so you must have had a really cool relationship with them. That's cool, Kenneth. That's so Mustang.
Yeah.
Right? You know our group, dude. You know our group. I'm like we are, for everyone out there listening, we are one of the most diverse groups at a club on a single campus you can imagine. Yeah. We run 7, 8 different ethnicity, cultural backgrounds between people, and then you got to throw me in just to kind of even it all out, as craziness is crazy. But Kenneth, this is cool. I like that. Yeah. You make me smile even more. So you conquer in San Diego State by enjoying some time. Once you realize, this isn't going to be easy, you have to apply yourself. Getting straight A's is not necessarily the number one requirement. Yep. Having a little bit of social fun and finding something that connects something to what you love to allow you to have that extracurricular but non-academic graded, stress type thing. We find that there's a lot of kids that join robotics-based things, building-based things. Mm-hmm. And so you have an engineering club. And then the engineering club super bonus is one of the dudes on your team gets you an internship.
Yeah. Yep.
Is the internship paid at the time?
Yes. So that's one of the good things about construction is, I'm not too sure about the civil engineers or, mechanical engineers or electrical engineers, but, construction, not to be, not to brag a little bit, but construction pays pretty well. And even as an internship, I was able to support myself and, be comfortable and realize, I can continue with this.
It's a very true statement, my friend. I'm proud to say that someday my mom and my dad will probably watch this, and proud to say I come from a family of construction workers, and you know what? We had a house. We survived. Exactly. They got me to where I'm at, right? And so a lot of power to that. But you're very correct. If you're out there right now and you're listening to this, or if you watch this later on, I would really suggest taking a look at some of the information that connects to pay scales with jobs, because the time you put into college, you would like for it to result in something that allows you to have a comfortable life. And with all those pop fingerings back behind you, I gotta imagine
someone's
there's a
got to pay
couple
for that,
extra
right?
dollars rolling around in your pocket here. Okay, so we get our first job. What's the internship? What are you responsible for?
So like what we were talking about earlier, safety, and that's that was kind of the internship. They needed an admin, and I just needed to get in the door. So like what people always say a lot, just get your foot in the door and you'll find your way after that. So I got into safety. That was my first position, basically doing a lot of paperwork. A lot of paperwork. I think like a couple hundred pages I have to scan every week. So that was fun. But then again, like the big part of that was hosting orientations. We had a big safety team, but a big project, you need eyes on the field. I didn't have that much experience in the field, so I got to do the more technical side, which is when they gave me orientations within like the first 2 months, and I was like, whoa. Again, like I'm really bad at speaking, so this isn't gonna go well. I had a paper in my hand. I was like reading off the notes. I was like, this is not getting to anyone. So, like I said before, like it's a big learning experience. You try to adapt it to a style where it can connect it to the workers. Big thing is just think about what you're gonna do after you get home from work. Think about what you have to get to after work.
So in my mind, if we ran through this concept, I'm just imagining you're sitting in front and you're trying to explain changes in the way things are set up in the environment. Be aware of these things. In the next 4 to 5 days, we're going to move in a new crane. Please be aware that this area is going to be off limits. Whatever aspect of that particular job site, you're attempting to give them a forward thought pattern into what's happening over the next 48 to 72 hours so they can adapt what they are required to do, which is construction. And no offense, construction workers each have their task. Yeah. And so you get to them beforehand, you explain, hey, here's what I need you to do. Please make sure that you go out, you're paying attention, don't hurt yourselves, go team. Yeah. Everyone hugs up, or a bunch of construction workers look at you and just walk out the door.
That's the hard part, where I'm speaking to people that I'm in less than a year in construction, and I'm talking to people 30 years, 20 years, even 10 years. They know a lot more than me, and being a general contractor, which is what I work for, we don't perform the work ourselves unless that's something that we specifically buy out. But I'm banking on the workers telling me about their expertise and trying to bring stuff up where I can relate it to other people and say, hey, this person's putting up a wall. Stuff can fall while they're up head, and people down below, you got to watch out for that. So, that was the hardest part, just trying to get the message through to people that have been in the industry and trying to, twist their mind and see if I can get something else that'll make them think, before they do stuff.
Well, to me, it sounds like the new member on the team needs to earn a little bit of respect from the rest of the members.
Yeah, exactly.
Welcome to your junior year of VEX Robotics at our campus, huh? Like you walk onto that team, you are surrounded by people, and you're like, damn, dude, no wonder why you're quiet. You were on a crazy team, dude. They were all overwhelming. Okay, so this is going really good, kid, because I think what we have is this real direct link between your experiences. Do you think there's anything different if you don't do VEX Robotics, if you don't have that experience?
I think it would have just taken me longer to have the experiences like I was in robotics. I would have gotten there eventually. It would have been more of a learning curve, as when I just did what I needed to do for my internship or for the construction group. I just kind of applied what I knew before, and like talking to judges. That's what we did for the construction competition. Talk to judges and try to explain our thought process and all that. So it did help a tremendous amount in just kind of knowing what to do and being a little bit prepared. But something always throws you for a curveball.
You're honestly telling me one way or the other, you would have found this pathway.
I would hope to.
Robotics was a great starting point for you.
Yeah.
All right. So personally, I got to ask, do you ever channel like this little inner Mr. Pearson and just like this voice comes out of you that yells at someone doing something stupid? Because I love to do that in robotics. All the time. What the heck are you doing? Are you kidding me? So, like, do you find yourself that's what you're doing as a safety person, or is it more of to me, I've been a little confused about how I would describe what you do because there's so
Yeah.
many aspects of how you can wonder and dream of this from my end. And so, do you walk and maybe we take the next step, which is uh, to me this internship turns into a job that you have at the LAX airport
Yep.
with Terminal 3 expansion. It's a $3 billion job,
Yeah.
some
Actually,
crazy
yeah. Yeah. So
3.8 billion.
Tom Bradley 1.6 billion dollars.
1.6.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. All right. So but this is now the second kind of go over of the LAX airport. So maybe I'm thinking
Exactly.
all of this combined,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
you're getting the Tom Bradley Airport. You're one of the safety people there. We are talking a real job. We are talking a very large building being built.
Yep.
The first day you walk on site, do you kind of freak out that you're walking around an airport? Like, seriously, that's got to be weird, right?
Actually, so like my internship was at the San Diego airport, so I was already I was kind of used to being like behind the scenes in the airport, going through all the security doors with a badge, like, oh, this is so cool. So it's like, it's kind of like being in Disneyland. You're like, oh, I'm in this area that I'm not supposed to be, and I got in here for free. Well, everyone has like a plane ticket, and yeah,
I didn't have to pay for parking at the San Diego Airport today. Yes, and it could
that's
be
very true
expensive.
also.
Okay,
Oh,
so
yeah.
that puts a different twist on it. You don't walk in with that little bit of a brand new environment. You walk in like, okay, I'm ready for this. I got this.
Yeah.
And that job ends up lasting well over a year.
Yeah, so they started 2016 up in LAX. So it's a long project. They forecasted it for 4 years to finish. Actually, earlier this year, but because of COVID and whatnot, we had to extend it back. We had less workers and all that, so we're kind of playing it, like month by month kind of thing. So,
and then, you did share some pictures, and while we're talking, Jacob, my producer is probably every once in a while putting some pictures up and stuff. So we do have some pictures of what looks like a completed airport, more to me, like planes pulling up and everything.
Yeah.
What kind of things are left to finish at the Bradley terminal?
Yeah. So right now, like we call it like the punch process. Basically, we're trying to get all the last minute scraps before turning it over to the owner, which is Los Angeles World Airports, LAWA. And this is probably one of the hardest, portions of the project, getting people that are done and think that they're done to get them to come back and, kind of finish work that either was damaged from someone else or maybe something that they missed. So, it's a lot of stress and a lot of coordination of maybe the other contractors at a different project. You got to pull it off from there, and hopefully don't affect their work. Get into our site, do some work. Hopefully no one damages it again afterwards. So yeah, right now
one of the things we may need to explain, Kenneth, and maybe I just walk this through real quick. Kenneth, which company do you work for? What's the name of the company you work for?
I work for PCL Construction Services.
Okay, so PTO Construction Services would be considered right now the company that is putting on the project, but they're actually not the people who put in the bathrooms, and they're not the people who are putting in the glass, and they're not the people who are actually doing the physical labor.
Exactly, yeah.
You guys as a company are going out and hiring other contractors to come in and do certain types of jobs.
Yep, that's
right now you're on the phone calling them, being like,
yes.
dude, you gotta come back and fix something. You gotta,
yeah.
Can you come back one more time? Did we notice you screwed something up, or you forgot to do something? Or, oh my Lord, that's crazy, dude.
So, we have like this past week, our electrical contractors, they have a bunch of items that they need to do. And I'm out there like every day calling them, printing out papers and showing them like, this is your items, what can you do today so we can get this list down, and then again like work towards turning it over to the owner.
I'm really honestly just thinking about the massive amount of understanding of all the little intrinsities. Like every single portion of this job is in your head.
Yes.
I'm so sorry for that. I'm so sorry for that. You'll never get it out, dude.
I know more details that I will spot and no one else will ever notice, but we have to do it because we're told to.
Dude, you're gonna be 45 and you're gonna be waking up with nightmares about LAX.
Yeah, probably.
You're gonna be traveling through there and you'll be like judging it, dude. Some days.
Yeah, I like for previous projects at Tom Bradley, they told us what was missing from there, and no one's ever gonna notice. But in the high arcs in Tom Bradley, there's a blue tape that's up on the ceiling, and I notice it every time, but no one else will notice it. Stupid
Well,
blue tape.
hey, but think about like the robot you built in high school, and you knew the one thing that was really wrong with it, and you're like, just don't look there, just don't look
exactly.
there. That's the one thing we couldn't figure out. We couldn't fix that one part.
Yep.
And we know what tape looks like. I'm sure there's been a piece of tape on a robot sometime before. All right, my friend. And I think now what's really, really cool is just knowing and being able to still know you and everything, and be, a lot of the kids, we have a Facebook alumni site. I get to see what you guys are doing. Every time you post something about traveling, I just smile so big, because I know this now connects to what you were honest about. And it's not a gloat that you picked a wonderful career field, which takes a lot of time and dedication and hard work and a lot of early hours and a lot of weekends. But when you do get your time off, I'm seeing pictures of you in Rome, I believe. I've seen pictures of you in England. I'm seeing pictures of you in, no offense to Disneyland, Tokyo is kind of cool, because you were watching the Disneyland electrical parade, and that's the one I used to see in Anaheim.
In Anaheim,
my favorite character is the lion who jumps out, and he's he's cool, dude. So you find now, Kenneth, that's something. I'm also aware you just bought a car. Do you find that you're in a very comfortable position, and you're only a few years out right now of college?
Yeah. So like the big thing that you need is balance. During school, after school, while you're working, you want to find a balance for everything, and that's where I basically the same thing for money. Like I look for something that I work for something that I can appreciate later on, which is like you said, like traveling. Like I don't do that without thinking about what I need to do before. I kind of plan for it, prep for it, and then not having to go to vacation and be like, oh no, I don't have any money. What am I going to do now? Now I have to work my butt off. But that's also one thing. Like you take advantage when you're in school. Like you have set breaks, every 4 months or whatever. This first year of work, I took maybe 2 weeks off. And, it's a big difference, in schedule. It's like you get into a routine, but, at certain points you need to take a break, which is, not stressed enough in other workplaces, but like at least for construction, you have a set limit and you need to take vacation days, or else,
you lose them.
There is no else. Exactly. You lose them. And, so might as well take it and plan for it, while you're at it.
And what's interesting about it is in a company like yours, you're talking maybe a couple months in advance. You're explaining when you desire to take the week off, and your boss may actually come back and say, sorry, dude, someone's trying to take that week off. Do you mind taking the week after or the week before? Because I can only lose so many safety people around here, or so many of my managers, or however you want to look at it, right? Do you have a favorite place you've traveled to? Because I said Rome, and you had a smile, like that was cool. Where's your favorite place to travel to, or that you've traveled to?
Yeah, because I've been there twice, I would say Japan is probably my favorite place to go to. But just being able to travel and going somewhere outside of what you're comfortable with, it's exciting. Like even when I took a road trip to Arizona to watch baseball. It's something new, and it's like, this is cool. Like, get out there, go see the world and whatnot. Learn other cultures, learn the public transportation system of like New York City, and just coming back to San Diego or to LA, and it's like, oh, we don't really have that here, but it'd be cool to have and something to think about in the future.
You're a funny kid. You're obsessed with baseball. You're so obsessed. Yeah. So I got to ask, do you know the Padres score right now, or am I keeping you?
I haven't seen it, and I'm afraid. I'm kind of afraid because the Cardinals are a mortal enemy.
Fingers crossed for you, because like your whole entire life you've been waiting for them to do something in the playoffs, and you're here with us. You're here with us. Thank you, my friend.
I think I just heard that we're winning. Yes. What's the score? Let's go.
Okay. See, the engineering gods are looking down on us. You gave us this time. So I think right now, for everyone that's in our audience, we would like for you, if you have a question for Kenneth about any portion of anything he's explained, we would love for you to put it in the chat box. And then over the next couple minutes, we're going to actually introduce some questions to Kenneth. I'll have some of the background staff come on in here and my directing staff, and they'll ask you some questions, and we'll see if we can facilitate a little information that the audience wants to know directly. Maybe something in particular about, your studies or something like that. But in the meantime, I do got to bring this up because I would feel bad if the rest of your team didn't remember this moment. but there's two things in my mind. I believe it was Chadwick one time, and that one makes me laugh, and it's what I brought up before we started the episode, that you're still the only Mustang alumni who's ever accepted an award at a tournament. And I think that was the moment, Kenneth, that I just realized how much you really meant to the group. Because, seriously, you showed up to support us, and the kids in the club rewarded you if you don't realize it. You're still the only kid to ever do that. And I apologize to the Chadwick staff if they fooled you and you thought he was, it's not a big deal. It was just like a little award.
Normal thing, yeah.
But the one that pops into my mind, do you remember Anaheim? And leaving the Anaheim World Championships for engineering robotics? You do.
I do.
And I'm driving on the freeway, and I get a phone call. Do you remember what you guys called to get some help with?
I popped the tire and I didn't know how to change it.
Yeah, no shit. I took an entire group of kids to the robotic world championships and had to turn around and drive 20 miles to change the tire. And to this day, I love you for that, kid. Your mom loves me that I came back, actually. I think she was driving that day. So I see Jai's joining us here. And Jai, do you got you want to start us off with the questions?
Yes, we have a question from Mustang Robotics that we want to know, what college course did you find the most challenging?
Okay. Well, it kind of sounds pretty lame, but I think the most challenging course I had was actually earthwork. Some of the concepts of getting a cubic yardage of dirt, I didn't get the first time. That's one of the classes I failed, like I said earlier. So I failed it the first time. I took it again, and then my professor was really good at what she does, something like what Mr. Pearson does. But she knows me. She knows me. She knows me from the classes, and she pulled me to the side. She's like, "Okay, it looks like you're struggling a little bit. What do you need help with?" And that's what I was afraid to do. I was always afraid to ask for help. So her reaching out to me like that, it's like, okay, again, like professors actually care about you, like whether you know it or not, and that actually helped me. I used to hate school. School is a scary thing. And after that, I was like, school is pretty awesome. Like, you're learning something that you're going to take in the future. So in that moment and in that class, I was like, boom, I'm in this. We're going to do this, and we're going to graduate, and we're going to get a job.
I have that same experience at San Diego State of a teacher pulling you aside and being like, hey, check this out. I think you're thinking of this a little wrong. How can I get you to think of it the right way?
Exactly,
and taking that extra little bit of time, especially right around that 300, 400 level course area where you get in the little smaller groups, and maybe you're working in a group of 10 or 12 or something. Mm-hmm. And that teacher actually can look at you directly. Exactly. Maybe one of the benefits of actually going to a campus that isn't so heavy in research. And there are other campuses we have students going to, some very famous ones, where some of the reports we get is maybe not as much time for that student interaction. So we will give that as a very nice bonus and compliment to San Diego State.
Yes, it is.
Their professors seem to have some extra time for you.
Yep.
Yeah, very cool. All right. Now Sophia's here. Sophia, you got a question for us?
Yes, Mustang Robotics also wants to ask, we want to know more in depth of the similarities and differences between the safety procedures that Mustang Robotics has and the ones that you did in your line of work.
Okay. So, first things first, you gotta wear your PPE. Even just cutting the metal. We had our glasses, but we didn't have gloves, Mr. Pearson.
I understand. We do now. We do now.
Oh, okay. See. So that's one of the big things, like in similarities. Like, you always got to protect yourselves. You got to protect your eyes. Those are the really sensitive parts of your body. Even your nose. Like, you want to protect your nose. We have masks at our job site. Well, not for COVID, but just for like dust, because they work with a lot of concrete, and that's harmful.
Cancerous.
Yeah, exactly. So you get a little bit of you get the hands-on stuff in robotics. with cutting the tools, working with everything, moving parts. You just got to watch out for your hands. There's always pinch points, and that's something you can compare to a job site. And then just construction takes it a step forward with all the moving equipment and all that stuff. But no, it's a good segue into robotics is a good segue into caring about your personal body. Make sure you're not getting hurt or hurting others, around you.
Very good. Awareness of your personal body space and the environment around you. And to tell you the truth, if we just put a VEX robot on steroids, a lot of times it looks like a crane to me. You know what I mean? Like you're just looking like some giant construction toy anyway. So. All right, Jai's back.
Yes, we have a question from Mr. Amara. He wants to know what was the most important life lesson you remember from your time at SDSU?
I guess the most important life lesson I would take is just balance. You have a lot of things coming at you. You have, independence, either being away from your actual hometown or even kind of being close, but just being away from your parents. Just know your limits, know what you're capable of, know what's out there. And I mean, just be like, I'm OCD, so I gotta see everything in perfect lines and in cheats and all that. So I always kept spreadsheets of what classes I took, what I need to take later on. Same thing for money. I kept sheets of what I'm spending and all that. So just balancing everything, balancing having work if you choose to work during college, and having your school at the same time. You want to have a lot of things. If you want all of them, just make sure that they all fit together to one big puzzle.
Kenneth, would you also consider right around that same time when you found balance, you also felt like you were becoming more of an adult? Like they kind of coincide and they go together a little bit. That whole idea of when you get to give yourself permission, like you feel like you're an adult, is that first year you're really kind of successful in college and it kind of builds there. You're good, kid. Good. I think that's an honesty there. There's part of that balance is incredible. And San Diego State definitely will present you with the balance. They have lots of other things for you to do besides class. But that reality would be you also have to just grow up and be able to manage it all and get it all in a place where you feel like you can conquer it all.
Mm-hmm.
Good answer, kid. Sophia has returned.
Mustang Robotics also wants to ask, what course did you find the most useful for your career path? Like in college course.
Mm-hmm. Aside from having the speech class that I took, I think I'd say probably the most important one is I think our capstone project, which is basically one of our last classes that we take. Again, you work in a small group, and for our course, we have civil, we have environmental, we have construction all together, and these three different types of majors with different types of thinking. You're trying to build something which ended up being something like construction, but it again, it teaches you a lot about self-monitoring, being accountable for other people, because in your group you're all the same age or around the same age, but you're trying to do this project on your own with a little bit of help, and you're trying to go from the basics of planning something out, pricing it out, building it out, calculating it out with actual numbers. Or our project was a bridge. We can't make the bridge, fall. So it's real numbers that you actually work with, and they judge you on it afterwards. So I think that was really important as to your next stepping stone into the future of what you're going to do.
And so during the capstone project, you actually worked outside of the main group of engineering students that you felt like you were kind of going through school with. When I did my psychology degree, I always felt like everyone that I knew followed me through the pathway, and we usually had classes together, or we were taking the same classes at the same time. And so your capstone project pulls you out of your comfort zone of that small group of kids, and then randomly chooses kids in other project areas that are related to engineering, but not necessarily in your field of study. And then you're provided a task, and you have to figure out how you work as a team.
Exactly. Yeah. So the criteria for the class was your team is 6 to 7, and you can't have more than 2 of the same major in your group. And And because construction was so small, it was only me for construction. And I think we had three civils. We had 3 civil engineers, 2 environmental, and myself. So, everyone else having the harder classes, because I think of construction engineering as, the easier engineering route. I let them do all the calcs because that's what they deal with. They deal with the water, they deal with the loads, the stresses of the bridge. And I was like, hey, I'm good at construction, I think. Let me price out this bridge. And that was basically my task. So,
Gotcha.
there's strengths in everything, and that's what you need for, a group project, in robotics or, in what I do now. You need to have strengths in different fields so that you're balanced. Like I said before, and you can kind of do anything. You have experience for everything.
Dude, there's going to be some crazy numbers in some of those other kids' heads about like structural integrity, strength values, and things like that.
Exactly.
And
I'm like,
I don't need to
quite
remember
understand.
that, dude.
Yeah.
I'm the one who's going to tell you, don't let the wall fall
Yeah.
on you. Watch out for that.
Yeah.
All right, Jai's back. What's up, Jai? Well, you got another question?
Yes, another Mustang Robotics member wants to know, how has traveling to different places affected you as a person?
Fair enough.
Ooh. I think being more independent, especially going to countries where where either you don't know the language or you're not quite comfortable in it. Luckily now we have technology that either, teaches you directly or you can translate and just like kind of show them, which is, I feel like it's better that you try, to speak the language. But the first time I went to Japan, I was kind of shocked. Like I went to this country, I didn't know how to speak Japanese, and I didn't know how to get around, and I didn't have Wi-Fi on my phone. So, that is just, you learn from that, try to get better next time. And which is the second time I went to Japan, it was more comfortable. But just, being out of your comfort zone, experiencing something new, and learning different cultures, it's something good from traveling.
You have a personal challenge, Kenneth, if you don't realize this. You just keep on putting yourself in stressful situations that get worse and worse and worse.
I know.
And I'm going to join
like
this
it, but I do it.
I'll be Mustang Robotics because I hear they're all smart and they're crazy about wanting to build stuff. And then I'm going to do this. And now you're going to other countries because you're starting to master a little bit of that adult perspective of being able to say what you need to say.
Yeah.
I like that, kid. I like that a lot. Jai, was there anything to add to that question? Nope. Jai, you didn't realize she was still sitting here. All right. Kenneth, if I could add in right now, did you get another update of your score? Go ahead, turn around and ask.
Is it still 1-0?
Yes, it is. I'm just checking right now.
We're still winning.
Right. We got to make sure Kenneth is feeling good here. I'd hate for him to have a moment or a heart attack. That's not a very safety-oriented thing here.
Yesterday was a big heart attack.
At this point, I'm imagining, Sophia, if you just want to pop back on and give me a thumbs up or whatever, we've actually run through the questions. We're good?
Yeah, we've gone through all the questions.
Excellent. Kenneth, if I could just ask you one last thing. Yeah. As you continue walking through life, would you come back at another time and share with us again? Because I think I enjoyed just seeing you and talking to you. Part of this is personal greed and just the idea I don't get to interact with the alumni that I spent so much time with for a while. Like in high school, we spent hours upon hours together by every week, driving to places, all of that. And so first, Kenneth, I'm very proud of you. And you just continue to rock and roll and enjoy life, my friend. We will cross paths someday. And so I know that you travel down here and you visit with your family. So make sure you give me a little call and maybe me and you can, hang out a little bit. You can come over to my house and stuff. But for everyone out there in Twitch land, in Mustang Robotics world, in future YouTube land, if you're watching this, we are very grateful that Kenneth took a few minutes on a Friday night to come back and tell us his experience at San Diego State in the engineering field. And I thank you for this time. We all thank you for it. And ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome to come back in 2 weeks. We will be taking off next week. Our school is out for a week break. And in 2 weeks, we'll be returning with another episode of the Mustang Alumni Series. If you've missed any past episodes, they are located both on the Twitch page that you're watching this on, or they will be located in YouTube. And just search Mustang Robotics Alumni Symposium Series. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending tonight. Have a wonderful evening. And again, Kenneth, thank you for your time.
No problem. Thank you for everything.
You're welcome.
This is awesome.
People try, it's the first thing they do. Only different, it happens to you. Only makes sense when speaking to you, but it got away. My goal